will be a new live acoustic music and spoken word gathering called Soul Fuel at 7 o'clock in the evening. You can find more details of this and all our chapel activities on our website, where you can download our Open Mind newsletter, or a paper version will be due out tomorrow. If you don't have online access, copies of the newsletter will be available from next week. Do join us after the service for refreshments at the back of the chapel today. If you're watching from home, you can join tea and conversation in the virtual side aisle via Zoom. Just click the connect link in the YouTube description to find it. For the collection, we're an independent registered charity, and we rely on your contributions to continue our work. You can donate using the donate button on our website, or by leaving the gift aid envelope in the basket at the back of the chapel on the steward's table. And thank you to everyone for the many ways you contribute to our spiritual community.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Kate Dean. I'm proud to serve as the minister for this beautiful and sacred place, and we are especially excited to have our children in our service today for a spooky all-ages service. We're going to light our chalice this morning to remind us of our Unitarian faith with some words that the children use in bright lights. So I'll light our candle and then I'll teach you the words. The words are, we are the chapel of the open minds, the loving hearts, and the helping hands. So maybe we can all say that together. We are the chapel of the open minds, the loving hearts, and the helping hands. Thank you, everyone. Now let us sing our first hymn. The words are in your service sheet, and it's called True Simplicity.
Thank you. Now we come together as a spiritual community each Sunday and we do like to get to know one another. So now is our time to greet each other. So I'd like you to turn to someone near you to say your name and perhaps tell them something about Halloween. It could be what you like about Halloween or what you don't like so much. So turn and greet your neighbours. Thank you, everyone. It sounds like lots of conversations have started, and maybe over our activities later, you can continue your chatting. But for now, we have a story for all ages, but since there are some pictures, I'll ask all of the children and young people to please come forward and sit on this side so I can tell you the story. And I'm just going to speak to make sure that you can hear through this microphone. I'm using my lapel microphone for this. Hello, everyone. So nice to see you all. Now, we think about Halloween being a bit spooky, and we think about witches and ghosts. And actually, part of it is to do with people being a bit scared about what happens when they die. But I've got a story that helps us think a little bit about that, and it's called Duck, Death and the Tulip. It's by a German author, Wolf Erlbruch. And you can see duck there. And for the grown-ups, I will just show them. Duck meeting death. For a while now, Duck had had a feeling. Who are you? What are you up to, creeping along behind me? Good, said Death. You finally noticed me. I'm Death. Duck was scared stiff. And who could blame her? You've come to fetch me? Oh, I've been close by all your life, just in case. In case of what? Said Duck. In case something happens to you, a nasty cold, an accident, you never know. Are you going to make something happen? Life takes care of that, the coughs and colds, the other things that happen to you ducks, fox, for example. Duck tried not to think about it. It gave her goosebumps. Duck gave her a friendly smile. Death gave her a friendly smile. Actually, he was nice. If you forgot for a moment who he was, really quite nice. Shall we go down to the pond? She asked. Death had been dreading that. Before long, Death decided that he had his limits. He's trying to paddle in the pond, but it's really very cold. Forgive me, he said. I really must get away from this damp. Are you cold? Duck asked. Shall I warm you a little? No one had ever offered to do that for Death. And you can see Duck's giving Death a little bit of a hug as he tries to get warm. Duck woke first, very early in the morning. I'm not dead, she thought to herself. She poked Death in the ribs. I'm not dead, she quacked, utterly delighted. I'm pleased for you, Death said, stretching. And if I'd died, then I wouldn't have been able to sleep in, Death yawned. That wasn't a nice thing to say, thought Duck. For a while, she refused to speak, but soon she was chattering again. Some ducks say you become an angel and you sit on a cloud looking over the earth. Quite possibly, Death rose to his feet. You have the wings already. Some ducks say that deep in the earth there's a place where you'll be roasted if you haven't been good. You ducks come up with some amazing stories, but who knows, said Death. So, you don't know either, Duck snapped. Death just looked at her. What shall we do today? Death asked. Well, let's not go back to the pond. Let's do something really exciting. Death was relieved. Shall we climb a tree? He teased. So they're up in the top of the tree. They could see the pond far below. There it lay, so still and so lonely. That's what it'll be like when I'm dead, Duck thought. The pond alone without me. Death could sometimes read minds. When you're dead, the pond will be gone too, at least for you. Are you sure? Duck was astonished. As sure can be, Death said. That's a comfort. I won't have to mourn over it when you're dead. Death finished the sentence. He wasn't coy about the subject. Let's climb down, Duck pleaded after a bit. You can start having strange thoughts in trees. Summer was ending, and they went less and less often to the pond. They sat together in the grass, saying little. When a cool wind ruffled her feathers, Duck felt its chill for the first time. I'm cold, she said one evening. will you warm me a little? Snowflakes drifted down. Something had happened. Death looked at the duck. She'd stopped breathing. She lay quite still. Death stroked a few rumpled feathers back into place. Then he carried her to the great river. He laid her gently on the water and nudged her on her way, and he placed a little tulip on top. For a long time he watched her. When she got lost, oh, someone's upset. When she got lost to sight, he was almost a little moved. But that's life, thought Death. And he went on his way. It's the end of our story. So let's go and sit back down and we'll have some quiet time. So now let's sit quietly, maybe close your eyes as we have our prayer of names. And we think of all of the joyful things in our lives and also the things that we are a bit worried about. I'm thinking about those world leaders gathering at COP26 and hoping that they will make the right decision about our world and the future of our planet. If you're holding someone in your heart this morning, you can say their name out loud so we can also think about them in our prayers. Spirit of life and love, God of our hearts, we join in the joy of those who are celebrating, and we hold in our hearts those who we are concerned about. May they feel the warm hug of loving kindness that we are offering them today. Blessed be, and amen. Now, as I said during our story, we can't know what happens after death. And we as Unitarians, we have our open minds so we can decide for ourselves what to believe. But those people who we love leave a sort of footprint in our hearts. Our memories of them are what makes them live on after death. And so later in the service, we're going to be thinking about our favourite memories of people who have passed on or people that we don't see anymore. And we're going to be decorating a house of memories so we can keep all of those memories safe. I have a quotation here from Reverend Scott Taylor, a Unitarian Universalist minister. Memory invites us to maintain our grip on the past, but it also calls us to pay attention to who we are in the present. Memory's question is not just, do you remember, but how do you want to be remembered? We're going to take a little more time, some quiet time, maybe closing our eyes, to think about some happy memories of people we don't see anymore. So as we hold those happy memories in our hearts, let's keep them close. Blessed be. So now we'll have some music for reflection. If you'd like to come forward and light a candle, you'll be welcome to do so now. now we have our activities, and we've got 3 tables set up for you. The first table over there is decorating pictures of pumpkins. So there are some outlines of pumpkins, and there's some examples of different faces you might want to draw on the pumpkins. And what I'd like you to do is draw a face on the pumpkin and then cut it out, because what we're going to do is we're going to use them to decorate our pagan altar this evening. We have another service to celebrate Samhain, the ancient pagan festival of Halloween. So we'd like you to help us decorate the altar. The second table is at the back there, and that's what I was saying about your happy memories. Hopefully you came up with a few happy memories of people that you don't see anymore. I would like you to just write that down, or you could draw a picture on a little card and keep it with you safe, because at the end of the service we're going to be posting that happy memory into our special House of Memory. And so that leads me on to the third table, and that is our house. I don't know if you can see, it's quite a big cardboard house we've got there, but it's looking a bit plain. So it would be really great if you could help us decorate the House of Memory. Now you can do this by thinking about something from the memory you've written, or you could just draw or stick some flowers or some plants or some birds on there. There are lots of different pictures printed out, and so you could cut some of those out and stick them on, or you can draw your own drawings and stick those on. We've got about 15 minutes for this, so feel free to move amongst the tables, and don't forget to keep hold of your card for the end of the service. Off you go. We've got 2 minutes, people, 2 minutes to finish off our activities. And if you have some pumpkins that you'd like to share, please do bring them to the chalice table. Don't forget to keep your memory cards and finish off the house of memory. Dear friends, please do come and join us back sitting down on the seats. Maybe afterwards, during the service. Thank you, everyone. I can see there's still some busy cutting out going on, so that's fine. Let's continue with our final hymn now. We're going to be singing One More Step Along the Road I Go, and the words are in your order of service. So let's come back together and sing that hymn now. Now, would you all please remain standing for our blessing? And we're going to say this blessing together. It's on your order of service, and it's the words that the children use after they finish their Bright Lights activities. So let's say it together now. As we leave this friendly place, love give light to every face. May the lessons that we learn warm our hearts till we return. Please be seated. Now, just before our postlude, I do want to show you our wonderfully decorated House of Memory, and I'll show the folks at home as well. While John plays our postlude music, you're invited to come forward and place your memory card in the House of Memory. Thanks so much to our Director of Music, John Evans. Wonderful to have you back with us again. Thank you to our stewards and our helpers and everyone who has made this morning so special. Please do join us for refreshments at the back of the chapel, where you'll also find the collection basket if you prefer to use cash rather than donating online. And if you'd like, you can still continue to decorate our House of Memory. I'll put it back on the table, or colour in some pumpkins. You'll be very welcome. Thank you, everyone.